Hello, friends. It is time for our penultimate episode of Year of Rex. Can you believe that? I can't believe we're almost at the end of the year. We're on our penultimate episode of Year of Rex. I'm very excited for the one that's coming next week. I won't tell you anything about it, but I'm very excited. But I'm also very excited for this week's. So, since I thought of doing Year of Rex, I've always known I wanted to do an episode where a librarian picks what I read. And I wanted to do this at my local library, but it just fell through. We couldn't make it work. We couldn't make filming at a library near me work, and thus I thought we weren't going to have a library episode, and I was really upset. But then one of my patrons, Katie, came through, who is a librarian in the US, and her and one of her colleagues, Sarah, have recommended me some books. So a librarian has picked what I read in this video. I'm sad we can't go to a library physically, but we're still having librarians pick what I read, and I'm very excited to see what they pick, what recommendations they give, because their job day in, day out is giving book recommendations. So I'm super excited to give my reading fate over to some librarians. So shall we just go watch the video that they've sent me and see what books we're going to be reading? Okay, it's time to see what my lovely librarian friends have recommended me. I cannot wait. So let's watch the video that they very kindly sent in and let's see what I'm going to be reading.
Hi everybody, my name is Katie and I work at the Peoria Public Library.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I also work at the Peoria Public Library.
And we're here today to give Meg some book recommendations based on working at the public library.
I work as the collection manager here at Peoria Public, which means I have a really fun job of getting to find books and select books and decide where they're going to go and tell people about books. It's a good time.
And I also just want to point out that Sarah even orders our digital books for Libby and Boundless and I think somewhat Hoopla. Ooh. So all those ebooks, e-audiobooks, she orders those as well.
Get to make all kinds of fun choices.
So I work in one of our smaller branches and I get to see people on a daily basis and do reader's advisory, which I really love for both kids and adults. And I do visit schools quite a bit too. And I really love going to talk about all of our reading databases and giving book recommendations at school. So it's pretty exciting. Should we go and give some book recommendations?
Yeah, I think we should.
The first one that I brought with me is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Math. And it is a cozy mystery. It has footnotes, letters, and our main character in this one, her name is Eleanor. And Eleanor is a best-selling author. And her lead character, who's kind of the heartthrob in all of her mysteries, is based on her real-life ex-boyfriend. So while she's pleased to have success with her novels, she really does not want the ex-boyfriend in her books anymore. She really wants nothing more than to kill him off. But every time she tries to kill him off, she's told, but readers love him. Readers love him. You can't kill off their heartthrob. Her sister, who is also her literary agent, decides that they're going to go on a book tour in Italy to promote her newest book. But guess who else is going to be on this book tour with her? It's going to be the ex-boyfriend who is in all the books. And it's going to be his ex-wife on there too, as well as several other authors, including an author named Emily, who I feel like this is a fun little element to the writing for readers of books. Emily writes a lot of mysteries very similar to Eleanor's, and some even feel like she just completely takes the books, changes names, but Emily claims she's never read any of Eleanor's books. But it seems like it's not just Eleanor who's wanting to kill off her ex Connor in her books. It seems like someone in real life also wants to kill off Connor because on this vacation more than once he's had a near brush with death. So we're trying to figure out who wants Connor dead. And is it Eleanor? Because there's some who think it's Eleanor. And the other thing with this book is it has some footnotes in there. It's a very, very meta book.
Exciting.
And lots of references to Only Murders in the Building, Agatha Christie. And it's kind of like a love letter to the mystery genre. So that's either going to be your thing or it's not going to be your thing based on exactly how meta. But a lot of people did compare it to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which I know Meg wasn't a big fan of, but you also mentioned it was because of the writing style. So I thought we'll see if maybe this writing style is more your thing than
I want to read
Everyone
this
in my
one.
family has killed someone.
Okay, I also have a mystery. This is called Death in the Spires by K.J. Charles. This is a historical mystery, so it's good to know that from the jump, which the cover is very clear about. This is also one that is kind of a love letter and an homage to like the genre of mystery, but it plays with a lot of the elements in these really smart and really fun ways. It's the kind of book where you think it's going to go this way and it's going to zig this way, and instead it zags this other way. It's very unexpected and fun. This is the story of Jeremy, or Jem, and he is accepted as a scholarship student at Oxford just before the turn of the century. And Toby Fanshawe comes out as a very fancy man, and he is the nephew of an earl, and he sort of just sweeps Jem up, and Jem becomes friends with Toby and all of his friends. And this is all sort of recapped in the very first chapter here, but they're all friends and they have this sort of amazing and beautiful college experience, except that one night they have a huge, huge argument, and it is brutal. Like terrible, horrible, unforgivable things are said. And the next morning, Toby is found murdered in his room. And this is a huge news story. It's massive because that's an unusual thing to have happen. And then, because this is just before any forensics have happened, it's an unsolved mystery. And so this is just a case that sort of takes the national imagination for years and years and years after and decides, once and for all, I'm going to solve this mystery. I'm going to find out who did it. And he needs to do that by talking to all of his friends, talking to the remaining 7 wonders, because he knows that there are things that they didn't tell the police and that they know, and so between all of them, they can figure out what happened that night 10 years ago. So this is Death in the Spires by K.J. Charles.
Interesting.
Okay, quick apology.
Okay, all the recommendations
Something
sound great so
happened
far.
during my second recommendation where the audio just completely cut out, but I didn't catch it at the time, so
It's okay.
I didn't bring the library book home with me for my second recommendation, so I'll put the cover up here so you all can see it. And this time my recommendation is a graphic novel, and while I know Meg doesn't read a lot
Ooh.
of graphic novels, I thought
Oh, I like them though.
every time I've seen you read one, it seems like a very positive experience where you love them.
You're
So I was
right.
kind of thinking back on all the past graphic novels I've read that gave me Heartstopper
I love your
vibes,
shelves as well.
and I considered all the ones that I thought you would either like as much or almost as much as Heartstopper. And the one I finally decided to pick, I then realized even has a blurb by Alice Oseman on the cover. So hopefully that means it'll be a pretty high-rated book for you and that you will enjoy this one. And it's called If You'll Have Me by Uni. And this one follows 2 females named Momo and PG, and they both go to the same college, university somewhere, and they've never really crossed paths or met until one day when Momo, who's our shy, bashful character, her roommate asks her when she's done with class if she could please take notes to her friend who's sick and missed class. So Momo goes and does it, but it's not the friend who opens the door when she takes them, it's PG. And Momo feels like she's pretty clear that she interrupted something, so she kind of just passes the notes off, flees, but then when she's in the elevator, PG ends up being in the elevator with her, tries to talk, but Momo again is very bashful and everything, and then kind of nervous about what she maybe just walked in on, so she won't really make eye contact with PG, but PG thinks she's somehow done something wrong to upset Momo for the way she reacted. They finally kind of have their first meet cute one night when they're both out at the same club, and while they're there, Momo spots PG across the room and is kind of watching her, and then she sees this other girl get up, approach PG, and all of a sudden the girl just takes a real swing right at PG, punches her in the face, and then PG leaves, but Momo decides to follow her. And I don't want to give too much away after that because it is a graphic novel, so it's a pretty short story and a really quick read, but it does follow a love story between Momo and PG, and it's a graphic novel, and it's one that I really loved, and I was hoping if Goodreads had kept their graphic novel category that it would have been up for Goodreads Choice Award in 2023, but they scrapped it. But I do think this one would have stood a chance to be in it last year if they'd had it. But it's If You'll Have Me by Uni, and it's one that I think you would pretty much enjoy it because it does have the sweetness at its core that the Heartstopper series has, even though this is just one volume.
I think that's what we finally narrowed it down to. We definitely, like I said, brought stacks and have changed our mind a few times.
Okay, there we have it, friends. So I think I'm going to be reading Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies, Death in the Spires, and If You Have Me. It seems like a pretty good mix of stuff. 2 more mystery stuff, but then a graphic novel to spice things up. I'm so excited. I'm going to see if my library has any of these, but I don't think my library selection isn't the best. If anything, it will have Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies. If I can get any of these from my library, since this is a library themed video, I shall. If not, I'll have to purchase them myself. But yeah, I'm very excited about what we're going to be reading. This feels like such a great selection of books. So excited. So we'll discuss books in a second, but before we get into it, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Serious Readers. This is my Serious Light. I love it so dearly. If you're a regular here, you guys know how much I love this reading light, but if you're new, it's my favourite thing ever. It is a reading light with daylight wavelength technology that is made to replicate the daylight spectrum as closely as possible, so it feels so natural in the eyes. I really have not got eye strain when reading since I've been using this, and trust me, I used to get eye strain quite a lot when I read. And I just can't tell you how enjoyable it makes reading. It feels so easy on the eye, it feels so fresh on the eye. I use it every time I read, especially in the winter months when it's getting dark at 3:30. 3:30. I just love it so much. Mine is the high definition light that has an adjustable light. It looks really bright on the camera, but it's a perfectly like normal light, and I really adore it. It makes reading so enjoyable. And if you're wanting to treat yourself to something now for either Christmas or something to help you reach your reading goals in a year, because I find that I read way more with it, I have a code which is MWB24 that will get you £100 off a high definition light and free UK delivery. They can deliver internationally, they can deliver any kind of plug that you need, but yeah, I love it so much. So go check out the link down below. £100 off is such a good deal, so go check it out. I love mine. I use it every single day of my life. I can't read without it. So yeah, make sure to go check out the link down below and see if you want to get one. But let's discuss books, shall we? So firstly, I was not able to get any of these books from my library, which doesn't feel, you know, I feel bad about the fact that I'm doing a library recommendations video and then I'm not getting any of them out of my library.
Be a perfect saint.
I can't. I've tried it and I failed.
Why does everyone expect it then?
My library system, which is for every library in my whole county that I can like request a book from and they can ship it to my local library, they don't have any copies of Death in the Spires and the graphic novel, I can't remember its title right now. They did have copies of Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies, but they would not get to me in time. I couldn't get them this year. I couldn't get them the rest of the year. However, I've got the audiobook of Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies from my library. So when I listen to the audio of that is from my library. However, I have started with Death in the Spires by KJ Charles. I am loving this. I loved this in the first 20 pages. I'm just under halfway, I'm about 110 pages in. Oh, I'm loving this. So essentially, we're following Jem, who was a student at Oxford and kind of found himself in this group of friends of these. He's a scholarship student, and these are all these rich Etonians that he gets brought into this world of, and they're known as this great, fabulous group of friends, but then one of them is murdered. And the murder was never solved. It was obviously at a time where there wasn't... Did I tell you when this was? It's set in kind of 1895 to 1905, but obviously there's no like forensics at that time, and so there was never any resolution to the murder. However, the group of friends knew that they had a massive argument that night, and that because of certain things to do with the murder, it must have been one of them. And so Jem has decided to go and speak to all of his friends, old friends, they don't speak to each other anymore, and try and figure out who killed one of them. How long have I been out of focus? My camera has started doing this. It's started going out of focus. I'm so sorry. I don't know how long that was. I am just loving this. There's something about the writing I am utterly and completely obsessed with. You know when you just vibe with the writing style, and I just started this and I'm like, oh my god, I love this writing. I love this writing.
I'm obsessed.
I love the historical setting. It being at Oxford is so interesting. I've just been there. I'm actually kind of freaked out though, because my brother's called Toby and he goes to Oxford. And the guy in this is called Toby and he gets murdered and he goes to Oxford.
How many people were scared? Me too. I was really, really scared.
But I've just been there to visit him, and seeing all the buildings and the places is so fun, and the historical setting, this kind of Victorian setting is so fun, and I love the writing. And here's the thing, this is essentially a bit of a rip-off of books like The Secret History, If We Were Villains, dark academia at a university, group of wonderful magical friends, one of them is murdered, it's someone else in the group who did it. It's it's been done before, but I'm eating it up. I'm saying, yeah, okay. Yeah, when like you go somewhere and like you have like a burger sauce that tastes like Big Mac sauce, but you don't care because it's tasty. This is tasty. You know what I mean? I love doing food analogies. That's always very fun. I'm really enjoying the format of the book where he's going to each friend and talking to them. That gets something in me. As a mystery, I love interviews like Murder on the Orient Express, which I'm rereading soon. That so much of that is just Hercule Poirot. This isn't most Christie's, but that one, he just sits down with each suspect and interviews them, and I just love it. There's something about that just like scratches my brain. Maybe it's from when I used to play Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew games, oh my god, I loved Nancy Drew games. And you'd just go around to each person and interview them and get information from them. I am just loving this. This is giving me 5-star energy so far. I don't want to speak too soon because mysteries, it's always hard to stick the landing, right? But there's just something about this that I'm like loving. I'm absolutely loving. So yeah, I'll see how it goes, but I wasn't expecting to enjoy this so much. I've already looked up the author. I think this is like self-published or indie published. This author does mostly male historical romances, and that's just, I don't really read historical romances, and this is her only murder mystery. It came out this year, and I'm so sad because I would pick up more straight away. I'd pick up more instantaneously. So I'm hoping that she publishes more like this in the future, because this came out this year. So I feel like if she, we could see more maybe. Well, maybe I just don't read historical romances. I don't think I've ever read an historical romance. I just don't do it. It's not for me. So I'm devastated that she has like 10,000 books, but I'm not really interested in any of them. But I'm definitely interested in this. So I think I may finish this tonight. So I'll see you first thing in the morning with my thoughts. But yes, it is reminiscent. You gotta draw a line between like, is it like a rip-off of The Secret History and yada yada, books like that, or is it paying homage to those? Where's the line? I'm not sure I know, but I'm having so much fun. I'm gonna go finish it, and yeah, I'll let you know what I think when I have. I can't believe I've never heard of this, and it just feels like such a win. Okie dokie, so I'm going to give Death in the Spires by KJ Charles 4.5. The only reason it's not 5 was really, well, partly because of the way I read it, but I think the ending, maybe I just felt like I wanted a little bit more, but really I think the problem was me. I read this over like 3 days, and I think that was too long. I think I needed to speed things up a little bit. I usually read books in like 1 or 2 days, but I just had a lot of other videos to get done this week, and it meant that I read this a bit slower, and I really think that it damaged how much I enjoyed this. I think I need to read this in a day. I think you need to be in this and experiencing it, but I loved it. It felt nostalgic. I think maybe one of my favourite tropes I should add to my, maybe I should do another 5-star audit next year, is like getting the band back together.
Dude, we're getting the band back together.
I don't know whether I put that in it when I first did it, but like I love the trope of like these old friends coming back together. I think this was incredibly written. I'm on my knees begging KJ Charles to write more murder mysteries. On my knees begging. I don't read a ton of historical romances, especially not male romances written by a woman, and so I just don't think I'm interested in a lot of her other books, but I'm gagging for another murder mystery. I thought the atmosphere in this was incredible. I just had so much fun reading it. I mean, my filming at my local library was meant to fall through so that Sarah could recommend me this book and I could read this, and I just loved it. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of those books I mentioned before. It's not necessarily doing anything new. There is a romantic element in this, because obviously this author is mainly a romance author, and there is a romantic element, but it was perfectly like bittersweet and not entirely whole. I loved the way the characters spoke. I mean, I love Victorian books set in Victorian England. Like, I eat that shit up. I love it. So many of my favourite books, like Strange Case of Miss Daughter, I love it. It's my favourite setting. It's my favourite, like, point of history to study growing up. And I just had so much fun. What else is there to say? I had a lot of fun reading it. Part of me wants to say it could have been a bit longer, so I could have had longer with these characters, but I actually think it's perfectly paced. I think the characters come in and out of the story very well. I think the romance takes up a correct amount of space in the plot. It takes up quite a bit in the second half, but I don't think it's too much. I just loved it. I feel like I should be giving it 5 stars, but it's a 4.5. It's not quite a 5, but it could have been a 5 on another day, another time, another life. I think if I had read it quicker, it would have been. I think I just needed to be in it, whereas my reading of it was a bit broken up. But, the audiobook's on Everand. If you have Everand, just go read it. Just go read this book. I had never heard of K.J. Charles before, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. It was a wonderful, wonderful historical mystery. I am now going to get into our graphic novel. I'm going to cozy on up. I've got a little bit of time to read now, and then I'll read more later, but I'm really, really excited for this. I haven't read a lot of graphic novels this year, and I love graphic novels. I want to read more graphic novels. Some of my favourite books, Heartstopper, the Sheets graphic novel series by Brenna Thumner, the Tea Dragon books. I love graphic novels. I love cutesy graphic novels. So I'm so excited to start this. I'll probably just read the whole thing and then review it, because it's a graphic novel and it'll be super quick. But I'm very, very, it looks super cute, so I'm very excited for this one. Hello. Do you want to say hi? I don't really want to pick you up. Didi got spayed, guys, a couple of days ago, and I don't really want to pick her up again yet, but she's right here. Say hey, queen. Whoa. Apologies for any mess you just saw on my floor. My room's a bit messy. Okay, I don't play with a tripod. Okay, she's playing with a tripod. Just let her do it. It makes her happy. Just deal with the noises. I finished If You Have Me by Uni, and I'm giving this 4.5 stars. This vlog is going so well. This may be, I don't know, what's the highest rating we've had so far? On Year of Rex? I don't know, but this is what I imagined every episode of Year of Rex being like. Me reading books that I have never heard of. These two, the other one I have, but these two I've never heard of. And loving them. Oh, it's just so good.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Check out the labels.
It's so good, Dida. Oh, I just love you. I'm going away for a couple days, and I feel so bad. Yeah, jump. Good girl. I don't want to leave her. I love her so much. She's been sleeping with me every night and cuddling up to me. Anyways, the book. We're not Dida. So, this is basically, I don't want to say too much, because I think in graphic novels, you kind of just want to know, like, the vague synopsis, because I could tell you, like, the plot, but then we're already, like, 80 pages in, like, very small amount of plot. Basically, like, a romance between two girls. The story of them meet cute, basically. And I just had so much fun with this. It is so cute. I think if you enjoy Heartstopper, you'll enjoy this. It's very similar, kind of, like, cutesy, like, adorable, like, nervousness around each other, that young love now. nervousness. This is a little bit older. Age-wise, I think the characters have just started university. I can see why they've got an Alice Oseman blurb on the front. They fought for that Alice Oseman blurb on the front because it's the exactly right market, right? So this is like, would be a top recommendation for people who have enjoyed Heartstopper. And it's got similar, like, the texting is a big part in this. And I don't know, I just loved, firstly, I loved the writing style. Momo, who's the cute, shy one, I loved her illustrations of her. I talked, when I speak about Heartstopper, I often talk about how, for me, that's got some of the best facial expressions, drawing-wise, that can convey so much in Heartstopper, and I just loved Momo's facial expressions. She's so cute! She's so cute! And the way she reacts to things, and there's some really funny moments where, like, she's drawn differently if she's, like, fed up, or if she's, like, angry or, like, freaking out. Like, the eyes are different, like, it's got a different drawing style, which I thought was super cute. And I just loved the relationship and the storyline and getting to know them. The only reason it's not a 5 in this case is that PG, who is the, you know, mysterious girl in the relationship, that Momo is kind of like, oh my god, would she ever like me? I feel like sometimes I didn't know her as well. You know, I feel like I really got to know Momo, but maybe she's just like an easier character to know. PG, it's a bit more under the surface, and we did have time, like, going through her backstory, but yeah, that's probably just why it's not a 5 for me. But I just, if you're looking for a cute graphic novel, I read it in like half an hour. I had so much fun. It's so cutesy, so like you know. And for me, I'm just a Momo stan. I'm just a Momo stan to the end of my days. I just loved her illustrations, and yeah, I'd definitely be interested in picking up more from the author. But it's like, I don't know what to say to you guys. It's just a great little cutesy graphic novel, you know, great little cutesy graphic novel. I thought that there was some interesting themes explored here, particularly around sex, for like a YA reader to read and see themselves in Momo or in PG and kind of understand more about themselves in that regard, that I think could be really helpful to read. I just loved it. I just had such a fun time. I just silly cutesy time. And just like the colours. I love when a book has like quite a distinct colour scheme, and I'd say this is like reds and pinks and, well, I'm gonna name loads of colours, but like peachy, orangey, and red and pinks, and then like blues and greens are basically the colour scheme. This is very early on. Look how cute that is. Look how cute. And there's some really cute ones with a sunset at the end that I just loved. So yeah, what a win.
You know what's the most exciting thing about winning? It's when you win. I love that feeling.
Well, guys, we had 2 4.5s. On to our last book now. Every time I go on vacation, someone dies. My only library loan is the audiobook. I want to apologise. I feel like a bit like an idiot, like doing a library video and not reading library books, but I tried. I will check in with you on a halfway. I'm going to try and get halfway through tonight, so maybe I'll see you first thing in the morning. I'm very, very excited about this one. I think meta murder mystery. Oh, perfect vibe. I'm very excited to see how this one turns out. Hello friends, I'm just about to leave to go to Bath. You'll see me mention Bath in like 3 vlogs. I'm filming 3 vlogs at the same time. But I am about 40% of the way through Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies. I'm using the dust jacket as a bookmark. I know that's a sin. Evil. I'm enjoying this. So you're following an author who has gone on a trip, like, for her books and for fans of her books. It's a trip to Italy. She writes murder mysteries. Her ex is there, who she wrote as her boyfriend in the first book. The readers fell in love with him, but he, like, blackmailed her into getting a cut of her money and is now basically living off the adaptation of him in her books, and she can't kill him off because the audience love him, but she wants to kill him off. Her sister's there, some other authors are there, and some fans are there who've won a chance to be on this trip, and her ex-boyfriend thinks someone is trying to kill him. That's basically all you need to know. It's very referential to the murder mystery genre. It's very meta. The footnotes are often her like explaining more about the publishing industry or how murder mysteries work, or kind of just like making fun of herself. And I'm enjoying this, but I'm not in love with it. There is something about the writing or it's so voicey, right? This is like beyond voicey of this main character. And I just am not like resonating with her as a character. I don't know what it is. I'm feeling like she's a bit, I don't know if I'm buying into her completely as a character. I don't know why. She just feels a little bit like I'm not getting to heart of her, and I find that difficult with a narrator. She's very like jokey and like haha, you know, jokes. I'm telling jokes, because she's talking to you directly and she's like, oh, notice this, like how everyone always says like I'd die for this, I'd kill for this, you know, I'm dying or whatever, like how prevalent dying is. And I'm just like, but yeah, but who are you? You know, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the meta-ness. I'm enjoying the setting in Italy. I love Italy. Italy's like my favourite place to go on holiday. I love Italy. It's because I love Italian food. Tom and I, no matter where we go on holiday, we will eat Italian food. Like, we're about to go Bath. I think we're going to get pasta for dinner. I love Italian food, so I'm enjoying the setting, but there's just something, and I'm enjoying the meta-ness, right? I love the meta-ness of the murder mystery genre. I love anything that, you know, I think the murder mystery genre is so fun because it has all these tropes, right? It has certain characters we see repeated again and again. It has certain motives we see repeated again and again. And I think it's interesting to kind of poke holes in that and poke fun of that. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it, but it's just so, like, it's so voicey and I'm not resonating with the voice is the problem. I'd compare this probably to like something like Finley Donovan in terms of like that character who's kind of bumbling around and trying to solve mysteries and like stuff in her life keeps going wrong. Like it feels very Finley Donovan is coded to me. So if you enjoy Finley Donovan, I think you would enjoy this. I'm enjoying it. I'm just not in love with it, which is what I was hoping. But we've had a pretty successful vlog so far. So yeah, I will go finish this and I will check on you when I have. But yeah, as of right now, I'd say it's just good. Okay, so I have finished Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies. I'm giving this a 3.5. This, in theory, should have been 100% for me. I really enjoyed the murder mystery. I really enjoyed the way that unraveled, the clues that we got, the hints that she gave us throughout, the fact that she was like cluing us into the fact that things were clues. I loved that. I loved the meta-ness of a murder mystery author in a murder mystery, but I just couldn't get past the voice. This is like, your enjoyment hinges on whether you enjoy the narrative voice or not, because it is so, it's one of the, I feel like the strongest narrative voices I've ever read, particularly in a murder mystery. It's so intense and it just wasn't really for me for whatever reason. I also felt like, I mean, obviously I love footnotes. I talk about how I love footnotes all the time, but I feel like, particularly listening to audiobook, it was difficult to distinguish when something wasn't or was a footnote, and sometimes it could be a bit jarring because she like talks directly to you, the reader, and it's often the footnotes, if we're being honest, are just like snarky one-liners that she thinks make her sound clever or funny. And so hearing that in amongst everything else sometimes was a bit jarring and confusing and didn't necessarily 100% work for me. But like, for the most part, I had fun with this, I enjoyed it, but I never loved it, nor do I think I'm going to continue with this series because of that voice. Also, one other thing that I didn't enjoy, there's a ton of characters in this. There's a lot of characters. As you kind of want in any murder mystery, you want a good amount of like possible suspects, but I never felt like we really knew them.
Who is she? Who is she? Where did you find her?
Even her love interest, I was never that invested in. I was only really invested in her and her sister and maybe the ex-boyfriend who's not a nice man. He's basically quite a simple character. But really her and her sister were the only characters I was ever truly 100% invested in. So they're my negatives. It's a 3.5, but like I said, fun murder mystery. Thought that it was plotted really well, thought that the mystery was revealed really well in a really interesting way. And like I said, this should be something I love, and I did love it for the parts of it that I loved, but I had problems with it as well. However, this does mean, guys, whoa, are we ready? This episode of Year of Rex has a score of 4.16, making it second place behind me. I'm still the winner, but not, I mean, this is really the winner so far. I don't want to count myself as a winner. We're going to discuss whether I'm still the winner in the last episode or not, what that means. 4.16 is the highest we've got so far from recommendations from anyone, and I am so happy. I feel so lucky that I did this episode with these lovely librarians. Thank you so much to Katie and Sarah for doing this with me, because these are some great recommendations. 2 books I'd never heard of and really, really enjoyed, and a book I'd been intrigued about that I'm glad I now know my opinions on. So yeah, the librarians are the winners basically so far, if you don't count me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We've got a big finale coming up in a couple of weeks as kind of my last big vlog of the year. Oh my god, that's crazy. To be honest, I'm ready for 2024 to be over. So that's exciting. I filmed the finding out of the books already and it was so much fun. So I hope you're excited for that. That'll be in 2 vlogs time. I've got a Christmassy vlog up next and then the final Year of Rex vlog for the rest rest of the year. So yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. I'll see you very soon in another video. Let me know what you thought of any of these books. For me, the top recommendation is probably Death in the Spires. I loved that. That's like a 4.75. Like, it's so close to being a 5. I absolutely adored that one. So let me know if you've read any of these or you're intrigued about any of them, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye!